PDP victory. The road not run, the journey rough. We foot strong and our skin tough. So many dots have been thrown at us. Real Spartans never give up. The winds of change blowing your way. Bust off those chains. It's a brand new day. It's not a dream. It is for real. You have to believe. PDP victory. Yeah. PDP victory. Tobagonians are born fighters. Carry the genes of our ancestors. You change hands so many times, mama. To get your freedom, you have to fight back. I see the many scars upon your back.
I have found that Tobago gets more done when Tobago votes for a Tobago-centric party that does not have a base in Trinidad. Because Tobago has to mind Tobago's business now. We have not mind our business for the last 21 years. We're minding the business now.
PDP victory, yeah. PDP victory. Your enemies you shall see no more. Tobagonians will live better off. Better opportunities for the poor. Victimization it will be no more. The winds of change blowing your way. Bust off those chains. It's a brand new day. It's not a dream. It is.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Good evening, Spartan family. May we stand, please, for the national anthem of the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago. Please remain standing. We ask our brother Jerome to come and to pray for us tonight.
Good night, family. Let's pray. Father, we as your people, we are thankful that we are alive. We are thankful for all the wonderful things you have provided for us throughout the day, that we are here once more. We even pray for those who are still traveling. We pray for the safe traveling so they could reach here safe. At this time, as we gather at this meeting, we pray that your Holy Spirit will cover each and every one of us, even more so our leaders and those who have to present tonight. Lord, at this time, we even pray that those who are listening, that this message is going to reach far. And you know that the message is going to reach out so they too could tell someone or even be encouraged to even come on board. So Lord, may you continue to be with us, bless us, and be with tonight's proceeding. And at the end of it, we're all going to give you thanks. In Jesus' name, amen.
Please be seated. Good evening again, ladies and gentlemen, Spartan family, friends, well-wishers, those of you that would be viewing this virtually. We welcome you to another edition of the workshop. We have been having some exciting times in this place as we continue with the message. Different candidates each evening sharing the things that they would like to see done in their constituencies, their communities, and of course, topping it off every evening with a word from the deputy political leader and the chief secretary candidate, Chavez Augustine. We have been having some super times in this place. Can you agree? Can you agree? Put your hands together. Put your hands together. Yes. We want to have the same tonight. We have a Whim Dial Spring in the spotlight tonight, and of course, supporting candidates from the bordering districts are going to be on hand to assist with the message. I am ready. I am excited. Are you ready tonight? Are you ready? Are you ready? Are you ready? I believe that we're going to have some flag waving and some whistle blowing and all of that, because not just that we're trying to hype up a crowd, but the messages are exciting. I said the messages are exciting. Yes, you have to be dead to not be moved by the energies that are in this space. So we want to start the event tonight by inviting our very first speaker, and he is one of the gentlemen that have come on the scene. And very interesting. He's very forthright, knows what he's about. And he's been a candidate before in another place, in another time, in another dispensation, in another manifestation even. But he has become a part now of the PDP family, and we are very glad about that. I said we're very glad about that. He is the candidate for Plymouth BlackRock. And perhaps he has, and apparently he has some people here. He has some people here from Barrick, and he may be one of the most spoken. If I could construct it that way, he may be one of the most spoken thus far of the candidates since we start this thing. So I want you to put your hands or your feet together. Let us welcome the candidate from Barrick, representing, or the one that is vying to represent Plymouth and BlackRock, Mr. Niall Whitebeard George.
PDP victory. The road now run, the journey rough. We foot strong and our skin tough. So many that's have been Jonathans.
Good night, Whim Dial Spring. Good night, Spartan family. Good night, Tobago. Now I'm here tonight, and I'm reflecting. Reflecting on Tobago's situation. And in many ways, it reminds me of myself. We're being frank tonight. Abundant in potential, and did not fulfill it. But at some point in time, a change has to occur. And without that change, nothing is going to happen. When I look at my space, I see that in so many of the young people. Abundant in potential, no avenue to fulfill it. And the people that are in charge are beating them after they have failed to create that avenue. We are saying these young people, skill in many different factors, not given the avenues to pursue this. They may not be able to go along in traditional academia, but given other opportunities, I am positive that they will succeed. Now we have this administration in power. Bullies in the room. And I'm not hiding to say it. Enjoying success because we did not get our act together. And now that we have, they are running scared, left, right, and center. Threats over there, threats over here.
Watson got sent all the home. Farley got sent all the home. They're promising to change. After 21 years in office, you telling us about change. You should never leave the people who created the problem to fix the problem. PDP. Now, I remember having a conversation with my cousin about what takes place in Tobago. And again I say, there are bullies in the room. 14,000 votes or thereabout they have been winning elections with. Well, that isn't with the exception of 2013, and we all know what happened there. From a population of 51,000, that leaves us with 37,000. Even if 6 of those have migrated, 6 of those thousands have migrated, we still have 30,000. And I am here to say that I'm absolutely positive that the PDP will get enough of those votes on December the 6th for we to fix this. PDP! Tobago, we are the majority. The PNMites are the minority. And after the 6th of December, we will not allow them to drive any fear into us. Come out. Come out. Stand up for something. Change begins with each and every one of us. And I'm saying again, as I have said before, it starts with us doing something different. Yes, sir. You cannot sit at home if you are accustomed sitting at home. You cannot vote a particular way if you are accustomed voting a particular way. Because you live here. You see what is going on. You understand what is taking place. The difficulties in just living, surviving at this point is an achievement. So again I see, tonight is about Wim Darrell Spring. And we are all here to endorse the candidate, Ms. Abby Taylor. Yes, now, Abby was not successful in the last election. But you would have sworn she was. Because she was more visible than my schoolmate who was successful. And I'm saying to Tobago again, this is the type of representation you need. You need people who will be in and around all the time. You need people who care. You need people who have the will to make their areas a better place. So again, I'm here to say to Tobago, on the 6th of December, each and every one of the PDP candidates are capable. Each and every one is willing, and each and every one has the know-how. So come out in your numbers on December the 6th. Let me fix this. Thank you, and good night.
PDP victory, the road now run the journey rough. We foot strong and our skin tough. So many that have been thrown at us.
Let's say it one more time for Mr. Niall George. Yes, man. As we are called, talking off the cuff. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And of course, we are here, as Niall said, to support Miss Abby Taylor. You know, when I stand next to Abby, or now, when Abby stands next to me, it reminds me of the Anakites. Those are Goliath and his relatives and so on. And sometimes others, you know, as want to run away from standing next to her because I feel so much more minute than I am. You understand? But as she's a giant of a woman, no pun intended, and I mean that by who's a harder. I mean that just, and I'm endorsing what Mr. Niall George just said, that she has grown in terms of her ability to demonstrate how representation should be. PDP! And I'm very happy to know her. And so we want to call our second endorser tonight, who is my dear friend, and he hails from the district of Lambo Lowlands. I said he hails from Lambo Lowlands. You understand? And he is the epitome of stick-to-itiveness. You understand? You know, sometimes when a person did not succeed in a particular discipline or in a race, some people just go off into the sunset and you never hear about them. But this man just gives us the impression that he come to stay. He's just come to stay, and he's always in your face as if to say, I am able to represent these people. And so, my brothers and sisters, tonight, those of you out there in virtual land, I want you to help me welcome my good friend and the candidate for Lambo Lowlands, Mr. Wayne Was Clark.
Black excellence. Born to win. PDP in control. Black and gold. PDP in control. Black and green. Wave up a flag when you hear your candidate mention. Wave up a flag when you hear your candidate.
So man can't make a joke with you. You look for employment. We had a teacher that side them had to take up and open some sanitizing company, you know, because after December the 6th, when we clean them out at the THA, they had to go and look for work. Brothers and sisters, good night. Now man, good night. Tonight I want to pay respects to the political leader, even in his absence, Brother Watson Solomon Duke. Deputy Political Leader, Sister Faith B. Israel. Deputy Political Leader, Alicia Roberts Patterson. And Deputy Political Leader and next Chief Secretary, Brother Fali Chavez Augustine. PDP! Tell Fali what's the next deputy, you know. Brothers and sisters, the task tonight is a simple one. The task tonight is we are all here to lend support to Sister Abby Taylor. And you know, the easy thing about Abby is that if somebody always in your face, always doing something, working, something in the positive, you must after a while say, look, let me give you the chance. Like the people at Wimdarrell Spring gonna say, let me give Abby this chance. Because I believe this time is Abby's time. This time is Abby's time. And all the other do like all of believe, and this time is Abby's time. PDP! Right. After the January 25th election, when there were all different kind of views, people going back and forth, thinking all kind of thing, you know, Abby was working. Abby was working. And one day, I said to myself, boy, I go to you, you go and work like Abby. So I joined the charge too, and we were working. And when I look around, I see Nutsi was working. And I see Megan was working. And not to mention, Jamie was working. So when I look around, with the 6 PDP assemblymen that was elected, with the 6 that wasn't elected, what they had in common is all 12 were working. And this is a working team. I just did that to show off on beans and not to raise up the mic. So, brothers and sisters, what can I say more about Sister Abby Taylor? What I can tell you is that come December 6th, give her that chance and let her continue to work. She was working for free all the time. She work for pay now. Time for she to work for pay. Because we hired a bunch of people who probably their work is about photo. Everything they want to take a picture. You know, we was getting out some hamper. My hamper them wasn't so big, you know. Them hamper kind of expensive, but kind of small bag. Plenty people still. I went in, he was more than that. I went in a particular neighborhood distributing some hampers, and when I called the lady at the house, you know, out to come and receive the hamper, she told me that wait a minute, let me point something good. I can't take picture in this. I said, lady, I didn't come as a photographer. I come to give you something, and as soon as you stretch your hand and receive it, I'll be gone. And she said, you know, the PDP really is different. So when we was canvassing recently again, I went back to that same home, and she said, you know what? After sitting down and thinking, she said, because I thought all my children was voting for the other side, because that's where we grew up voting. When I look around, like, the three of them tricked me, they vote for PDP and leave me alone in the rain. She said, well, I ain't letting that happen this time again. I go in and join the bandwagon. Because if a child shall lead them, and all three children went to the PDP, she had no choice other than to follow. You know, Tobago was reeling in a pandemic. I said was that because we're in the second one now, we're in COVID. 21 years ago, we elected a group of people that proved to be nothing to Tobago other than a pandemic. So when the rest of the world was fighting to deal with pandemic, Tobago should have been sailing through easy because it's 21 years we dealing with a pandemic. And I'm saying it's time to rid ourselves of that first pandemic. Time to get rid of that pandemic. Because, brothers and sisters, the people of Tobago actually deserve better. You know, telling someone something over the years, you could be telling a man he's stupid, he's dotish, whatever. You know, it really doesn't have an effect on him until he starts believing what you say. And you know, they've been telling us, suggesting to us with the action, there's a whole island of dotish people they're dealing with. Because every time you sit for 3.5 years, and when the wind-up time comes, when you should be watching at your accomplishment, you're busy getting food card, you're busy paving road, you're busy getting grant. You know, just after the election, when you had to go and get a grant, you talk about paper to sign up. But all of a sudden now, like they pass the signing, you ain't to sign again, you just have to push your hand. And you know, them people from that other side, me ain't go to school like plenty of them, but they're liar. Me ain't get a big word to use, but oh boy, they're liar. When the chief sec was on record saying that none of the assemblymen are given any food card to distribute. What we see happening now? Well, it's not even assemblymen alone. Candidates now distributing food card. Our Prime Minister was very vocal in the parliament under the leadership in Tobago of Ho-Choi Charles. He was the one who said the Tobago House of Assembly is a runaway horse. And he reminded the people of Tobago that he represents a constituency that's more populated in numbers than Tobago. He said that. I remember that. And he also said that the THA, as far as he's concerned, should be made to account for every cent that they receive. All you remember that? But for some strange reason, that man started forgetting what he said. You know what is the line now? But the line he's using now kind of working for we. He says, should the PDP win the election, which could happen? Is we Prime Minister said that, you know? So if it's one thing, at least you see in the future. So if it's up in Mason Hall in the Hill, if it's in Bacalet where they're spreading out and clearing away all them land, wherever it is, better square out and measure out a piece for those 14, because come December 6th, that's where they're going to reside. And they only reside in there temporary until Farley pull up some files, and people will be called to answer for their actions. Because it's not right for people to be doing you wrong, and there is no consequences. Everything slide in this island of ours because there are no consequences. We see what could happen to children if parents allow them to just do what they want with no consequences. Those children will go astray. And the good book said, grow up a child in the way that he should go, so when he's old, he wouldn't depart from it. So we have the task of pulling these people back in line. You know, The commissioner of prisons was up here the other day and he said, what we have for our prison is deplorable. You know, when America send for somebody, you commit some crime and they want you. What do they call the word when they come for you? Say they extradite you. You know that is what they've been doing to our Tobagonians over the years? Send you to Trinidad to make jail. Imagine you had to go for, a few years ago, you had to go to Trinidad for a birth certificate. You walk clearance from tongue and country, Trinidad. You had to make jail, Trinidad. Well, good thing Tobago and the PDP are beautiful women because we have got Trinidad to look for nice wives like Abby Taylor and all the other women of the PDP. So, brothers and sisters, tonight I want to ask you to support Sister Abby Taylor. Abby is deserving of this opportunity. She deserves a chance. Abby has grounds to come and say, give me a chance, because you know what? She never stopped trying and she never stopped working. The others who've been sitting in the chair for 21 years and still asking you for a chance, something has to be wrong with not them, but the people of Tobago if they heeded that call come December 6th. The people of Tobago have spoken. The stage is set. And I have no doubt in my mind that come the night of December 6th, the first seat that is going to be declared will be Wim Spring Garden, where Abby Taylor will rise above the odds and be victorious in this THA election. Abby Taylor will bring that seat home for the PDP. And when Abby brings that seat home, we're going to celebrate the night, but you know what? Farley said it bright and early the next morning. Work begin. Because if you have something, a car, a house, whatever it is, in the state that Tobago is in, you really need to stop talking in the workshop, but getting down to work, roll up your sleeve, and get things done. Tobago has to get where it should be. And each and every one of us, brothers and sisters, give you that commitment that we're going to work, we're going to do the work, and we're going to lift the standard of Tobago and all Tobagonians. So before I go, I want to tell you, Wim Spring Garden, Darrell Spring, well, like, thinking up so much and naming the thing, but where you see Abby name, vote for Abby. If that thing never trick me with that. Where you see Abby name, vote for Abby. Where you see Terence name, vote for Terence. Well, obviously, where you see Farley, vote for Farley. You know, if you're rhyming and you say, where you see Kwesi, don't vote for he. You're sure right. So he will never be on the ballot. So, brothers and sisters, Abby Taylor will make you proud. Abby Taylor will represent you properly, and Abby Taylor going to be part of the PDP team that will give you governance like Tobago has never experienced before. Vote for Abby Taylor. Vote for the PDP. And come December 7th, we all will usher in a brand new day under the PDP executive. I thank you.
Black excellence.
Born to win, road, PDP in control. Back and forth, PDP in control.
Let's say it one more time for Mr. Wayne Wasp Clark. You forget to say where you see Trevor, vote for better. I could rhyme too, you know. Ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, señoras y señores, buenas noches. But we are at that time and at that place where we want to introduce the lady of the moment. And as I said earlier, we have grown to love and appreciate her work ethic. She's just a gem of a human being. Seems to be part of a dying breed. I make the point that good leaders are almost like an endangered species in this Tobago space. And while we are not just on a mission to find representatives and so on, but we are actually trying to find people that will restore integrity to representation. And so tonight I have the honor, it is like a delicious privilege to introduce to you my dear friend and the candidate for Wim Dial Spring. Could you put your hands or your feet together and help me welcome Miss Abby, I forgot his another name, Taylor. Yes, man.
Yeah, Mr. Carlos.
Of course.
Progressive Democratic Patriots.
Let me fix this.
Spartans!
Change. We just want some change. Change. We just want some. The people started for this operation. One bag of powers bring frustration. Now we fix this now, no station. But the youths them want is elevation. Build play parks for the recreation. Not to mention tertiary education. Nothing in place to start some shit from. Start either, let me tell you now. This election who we voting for? That easy. PDP, black and green, the Spartan army. Fear better tomorrow for you and this election who we voting for? That easy. PDP, the Spartan army. I will ask 2 questions right now. 4 more years of the same thing?
No.
4 more years of the blame thing?
No.
Tobago we fed up on the stress. Time for the PNM plus.
Where?
Realize, recognize, realize. So the snake in a ball is in a disguise. Tricky Tracy, where is zip line? Them a sell lies with mixed minds. So this election who we voting for? That easy. PDP, black and green, the Spartan army. Fear better tomorrow. I be there. I know for sure. December 6th, we making a difference. PDP family, let me hear the noise one time. One time. Let me fix this. I want to sing with me for this part. Let me fix this. Everybody get up and sing with me for this part. Let me fix this. That's all I want to hear right now with the crowd. Let me fix this.
Chavez Augustine.
Change. Let me fix this.
And Nigel Tate.
Let me fix
The
this.
right decision. Vote for the Progressive Democratic Patriot.
Let me fix this. I want to hear the crowd. Change. We just want some. So this election who we voting for? That easy. PDP, black and green, the Spartan army. Fear better tomorrow for you. This election who we voting for? That easy. PDP, black and green, the Spartan army. Fear better tomorrow. Father for this operation. One bag of promise bring frustration. Now we fix this now. What the youths them want? Elevation. Build play parks for the recreation. And not to mention tertiary education. Nothing in place to start some shit from. Start idle, end up in a. So this election who we voting for? That easy. PDP, black and green, Spartan army. Fear better tomorrow. So this election who we voting for? That easy. PDP, black and green, the Spartan army. Fear better tomorrow. December 6th, make a difference. Let me fix this.
PDP. Oh Lord.
Yeah!
Tobago, Spartans, I am proud. Thank you, Ngazi. Thank you so, so much. Okay. I legit want to cry. Tonight I came here, papers in tow, to talk about my community. I am not a crier. But I came to talk about my community. And it was hard. Sorry, this is my daughter.
PDP.
I came to talk about my community. And I have been getting calls for the entire day. Abby, just be yourself. Just be you. Because the community sees you. And I see them. And tonight I simply want to have a conversation with you. No fluff, no fanfare, well, except for Ngazi, of course. No fanfare. I just want to have a heart-to-heart with you. Because I believe that in my canvassing and in my walking, I had heart-to-hearts with a lot of people. And I'm saying to Tobago, this is not right. We have to fix this.
PDP!
My name is Abby Taylor. And on January 25th, I lost. Wait. But at the end of this conversation with you tonight, I am hoping that you would see that me losing wasn't a loss. Tony, I am sorry for my smeared makeup. Okay. On January 25th, I lost. But I made a commitment on January 26th to remain committed to you. And for me, that is the most important part of representation. Remaining committed. Tonight I'm going to be open. I'm going to be raw. I'm going to be real, because you, Tobago, deserve a representative who is always open, always real, and always raw. So in my conversations with my community, post January 25th, I discovered a lot of things. Our community lacks what we often need the most, love. And unfortunately, a lot of persons have suffered because we simply has lost the ability to love. So tonight I am going to start with the persons closest to my heart. The vulnerables. I want to talk to you specifically and directly because I too am a vulnerable person. A single mother of 3, the story you have heard before. But it goes so far beyond just being a woman in a society who has to care for 3 children on her own. It speaks to the other vulnerables within our community that has been left on their own as well. And I'm saying, Tobago, we have to fix this. Last week, Wednesday, I was on the mall, and the young lady who was sitting in my car, she's part of our canvassing team. She called me and she said, Abby, I need you when you come down here to talk to a man. When I got there, it was this elderly person, not very old. He was about 50. And he said, Miss Taylor, I have nowhere to sleep. I do not know where my next meal is coming from. And I am saying his story is one of many. COVID has exposed us real, raw, and open. And I am saying, Tobago, we have to fix this.
PDP!
In 2011, the CSO recorded that there were 21 male and 2 female street dwellers in the parish of St. Andrews. I believe that's Scarborough. That's 2011. We are in 2021. And today, that number has almost doubled. So my vision for the most vulnerable, our street dwellers, the persons who we often laugh at, who we often mock, who we often have no care or concern for. Darrell Spring Spring Garden. My community will take care of you. We would introduce rehabilitation centers. And this would not only serve as a home for persons, but it would help in the reintroduction of these persons into the community. We would feed you. We would teach you. We would equip you with the tools necessary to go back out into the community and thrive as a Tobagonian. Tobago, we have to fix this. They would be taught how to take care of themselves. And money management seminars would be part of their program. So when they are introduced back into the community, you would have a whole person. And I am hoping by then, we would have matured so much to open them and embrace them with open arms, with that love and tender care that we so desperately need. Our elderly. Now, I have a serious problem with old people being taken advantage of. I grew up with my grandmother. I loved her dearly. But somehow we have forgotten that they were contributors to this society. They have built this place called Tobago, and today there is no place for them. And I am saying, Tobago, we must fix this. I remember walking in Sanctus Hill, and I was engaging in a conversation with one of the residents, and I looked across at a home, and the bush was as tall as the house, and I asked if anybody lived there. She said yes. Shocked. I asked, how? She said, well, she have a son. He does take care of she. I said, okay. I said, but when the person leaves, what happens to her? Well, I don't know. I said, okay. So I started to conceptualize a program where our elderly would be taken care of with that same tender love and care that they would have given to us. The elderly would have a system that cares for them. One that would teach young persons or persons willing about elderly care, etiquette and deportment, because you know old people have a way about themselves. You have to be prim and proper, right? And food preparation, because a lot of them have special dietary needs. And I'm saying within our community, right there between Darrell Spring Wim, we have persons that can care for our most vulnerable. Our senior citizens will not be left out of anything. And as much as we talk participatory government and governance, this initiative would put seniors at the helm of our decision making. We would have something called Sundays with Seniors. Sundays with Seniors, in my vision, I see persons going out, bringing them out, engaging the older heads who are still entrepreneurs. Sundays with Seniors, we will engage our seniors who are still creatives And we would utilize the each one, teach one method, so young persons will actually learn from the older folks. Sundays with seniors will engage our seniors who just want to talk. Most of them just want to have a conversation with you. And we stand to learn a lot from them. And until it is safe to do this in person, and I should know we have a lot of videographers on this island, Sundays with seniors would be a virtual event. Every Sunday, this initiative would be broadcasted live on Facebook. And if we could afford, and we would, it would be broadcasted on other traditional media platforms. Tobago, we have to fix this. Let me talk to our single parents. Nobody understands your fight more than me. Having to raise 3 children on my own, I know it is hard. And this and I'm speaking to especially our single fathers. Don't feel I forget you. I know most of us talk about single mothers only, but I know that you are there in the fight too. And I understand since COVID happened, it has been hard on us because trust me, I am struggling with the concept of online learning. And I only have 3. Some families are families of 5 and 7, 1 device. I know school is a nightmare. No internet infrastructure has been set up or put in place to support the demand that we currently have. Parents are becoming teachers while still having to work and maintain a family. Family care and family time is very trying. I know for most persons you would have lost income. I know for persons who would have had a 2-income household, you are now reduced to 1. I understand. But I also understand that the solution to that problem is not another handout. We have to be able to sustain ourselves. We have to be able to be self-sufficient. And tonight, single parents, I am talking to you. I would establish what I call an SPS, a single parent savings. And I would partner with the credit unions in order for you to start saving and working towards an intended financial goal. Because the solution to this problem is not somebody paying for you to take care of your child. Because trust me, money does run out. People does forget. Policies change. I need you to be self-sufficient. This initiative would also have supporting factors. Financial advice, financial management, and budgeting. I would work closely with you in ensuring that you would be able to stand. Tobago, we have to fix this. And to our fathers, our men, the backbone of our society, I know you don't like to be labeled as being vulnerable, but I know you are. I know sometimes you have the weight of the world on your shoulders, and it is hard for you to cope. We would establish a safe space because we have a lot of buildings and facilities in this place that could house a safe space for you. I need for you to talk. I need for you to vent. And in order for you to do so, a space must be created for you. So last election, when I would have proposed that the community centers would be retooled and repurposed for something a little greater, this is what I had in mind. A safe space for our men to go and talk, vent, share ideas. because I need you mentally stable to help carry this community. Tobago, we have to fix this. Our community centers, as I said, last election I proposed for them to serve a better purpose. Our community centers will also aid in the facilitation of single parents who are working. I want you to be mentally comfortable when you are at work. I want you to be able to produce work knowing that your children are safe and well taken care of. And of course, the workforce would come from right within our community. There is no need to look outside of who we are. Our community centers will house daycare centers in order to treat, because I remember a lady telling me that she said, Miss Taylor, I have to choose between working or caring for my children. That's crazy. And if we have to reach that point where you have to make, that's the kind of ultimatum that you are given, food or child care, I am telling you that we, the community, will provide. Tobago, we have to fix this. Now, my youths, my daughter, I am sorry. I am sorry that we have failed you as a society. We should have prepared a better place for you. I remember how old I would have been. 2000, a proposal of a 2020 vision would have been made, securing a place for the persons who would have been now 21 to thrive and grow. That was a dream. That was another unmaterialized promise. And I am saying, Tobago, we have to fix this. I am fed up. Fed up. Fed up of hearing people asking me for a URP job. I am tired of people asking me for a CPEP work. Even if I could have give it, I would not. I would not, because that is not a means to an end. And if we are talking development, and if we are talking transformation, we have to start preparing a place for our young people. And in as much as I don't want to read from the script, I just want to make sure that I get it right. Okay. I conceptualized a program which I call From Block to Business. I would have started, this dream would have started when our first initiative was launched, the Business Development Caravan. And I plan to expand it because it was successful. Within our community, we would have able-minded persons who can do the following: a name search, a business registration, a business proposal, and a business plan. Right now, the going rate for these things are $700 to $800. The community would do this for free. Toolbox initiative. This initiative, after studying the business sector with my limited knowledge of business, I realized that a lot of businesses fail for one or two important reasons. One, they do not have the capital, or two, they don't have the money to buy tools. So the Toolbox initiative was created to help solve that simple problem. The community, Darrow Spring WIM, would rent tools to tradesmen for a minimum maintenance fee. tradesmen and women could now use monies gained to save towards purchasing their own tools. Skills Bank. I'm going to develop a skills bank. And this is not going to be any ordinary skills bank. This is going to be one of purpose. Walking through my community, I would have realized that there are a lot of skilled and trained men, some of which don't know what to do with their talents. Like, I wish I had a skill. I wish I could have done something. Because that, to me, equals in multiple income streams. So this skills bank was designed not just to be a data collection, but a collection for purpose. We would utilize the data collected to help register persons with the Procurement Control Office. And I know most of you don't know what that is. But the Procurement Control Office is a space where you can register your business with the Tobago House of Assembly. And then you can tender for jobs within the Tobago House of Assembly. I know with the expansion of the Scarborough, the city of Scarborough, our pilot project, there would be avenues for multiple jobs. And it is through this skills bank that we would get our skilled men and women to work. Tobago, we must fix this. Now, this is something that I have not really looked into because it is not my niche. But common sense dictates that sports development should happen at a faster rate than it is happening in Tobago. Our athletes are developing way too late. And when we are elected, that indoor sporting complex, that ghost building at Whim, would be the place to hone and harness new sporting disciplines within the area. And this would start with consultation from the community. Sports development for me, again, in walking, these are conversations that I have with people. I would have met a young man, and I wish I had him here tonight because he's actually the reason why I would have offered myself up for service. Last year, I met a young man by the name of Jarib Louis. Mr. Louis is a footballer. Oh, he was a footballer. And he was a really good footballer from what I have heard from the community. Unfortunately, he would have suffered an accident that caused him not to be able to play football anymore. And the first time I met him, I saw him on the block. And they was like, you know, Abby, you know he? I said, no. He's a real good footballer. I said, eh? Yeah. I said, okay. I said, so why he on the block? Because everybody just give up on him. And that's hurt me. Because I know institutional knowledge never dies. And even if he cannot play football, his knowledge could help in the sports development there in WIM. So I propose to establish the Jarib Louis Scholarship Fund. This fund will be created based on a need to develop the sportsmen and sportswomen in my community. We have adopted a trend where injured sportsmen and women have no place, and that's not true. So that nonsense ends tonight. The Jarib Louis Scholarship Fund would be a community-based, of course, scholarship that would be given based on merit to persons annually in need or in aid of developing their sporting-related pursuits. This can take the form of academic advancements if you want to go to school and study sports management, sports therapy. This could facilitate the purchasing of uniforms, because I know a lot of persons, even though they are skilled, most families can't purchase those things, and or travel expenses. So Tobago, we must fix this. Our community cooperatives. Now, this is a sector that I have heard it since last year. It has been drilling to me. The only way for persons to benefit financially is if we re-establish the community cooperatives. And in my walks, I would have realized, of course, that my community, because I boast and brag differently, have a lot of bakers that are just at home doing nothing. We have a lot of confectioners that are just at home doing nothing. So I propose that we would start the Darrell Spring Whim Community Cooperative. And this would have partnerships with private sector Tobago. We would also work closely with the marketing department to ensure that the goods made within that cooperative have ready and available markets. I still don't understand why we have to wait on a boat to get bread, something as simple as bread, in Tobago. And I'm saying, Tobago, we have to fix this. So Ngazi, thank you for coming tonight. Thank you for showing Tobago what Tobago has. Thank you for displaying your talent so boldly, so openly, and so raw. And know that I see you, and I, the cultural person that I am, wish to establish a community cultural policy whereby every creative would have a space to function and practice and hone their craft. I still don't understand why in 2021 we cannot utilize a space that costs so much money. I'm not going there tonight. You know what it is. But the community cultural policy would allow for persons like Ngazi and many other talented youths within our area to have studio time. The Tobago Carnival. We have been hearing about this for the longest while, since 2019, or they're about to be exact. There's no way that we could compete with Trinidad. It simply cannot happen, and it does not make sense. Our plans to remove the Tobago Carnival from February would be realized. And I propose, and I'm sorry, Trevor, because I'm going to propose an area in your beautiful Scarborough for a space called Mud City.
PDP!
Mud mass is the single most important product of Carnival for Tobago. And it is time that they have and receive the recognition that they should. They are the single entity that attracts the most tourists to this island. And it is time to give them the respect that they deserve. so much to come out of this Mud on Mud experience. And I'm using Mud on Mud as the model because they would have ushered Tobago into a new realm where Carnival is concerned. Carnival is my baby, so I had to take my time with this. I propose a place, preferably along the Milford Road stretch, where when we come to a conclusion as to when our second carnival or carnival is, would be transformed into Mud City. And we would ask for partnerships with the private sector because it just makes sense. And it's time for the private sector in Tobago to play a critical role at helping develop this space we call Tobago. There is much more that can be said and much more that can be envisioned. However, I believe that everything that I would have said here tonight would have resonated with my people. I am hoping that now, at the end of this conversation, you have seen me as being not popular, because this election and this democratic process is not about who's most popular. It's about who is most competent. And I am sure that after my presentation tonight, that on December 6th, you would vote for the most competent candidate. Myself, Abitinika Taylor. Have a good night.
PDP!
Progressive Democratic Patriots. Now we fix this.
Spartans!
We just want some change. We just want some people.
Let's say it one more time for Lady Abby. Oh, come on. Whoa, I'm telling you, we are looking for competence. It's not a popularity contest. And even if it was that, indeed, I kid you not. The time is fast spent, ladies and gentlemen, and we've got to keep going. And as per usual, every evening, we culminate with the voice of our deputy political leader and our chief secretary candidate. I said, every night, as per usual, we culminate hearing the voice of our deputy political leader and our chief secretary candidate. You didn't hear me that time. I say you didn't hear me that time. I want you to put your hands together one more time. Let us welcome the gentleman from the east, a wise gentleman, I dare say, a very intelligent gentleman. Could you put your hands together? Let's welcome our brother, Fali Chavez Augustine.
But I'm holding on in order to stay around in a life terribly imbalanced. For it is nature's way until judgment day. Weakness ain't got a chance. Playing strong cause I realize the price little one must pay to keep the big one in paradise is torment and misery all day. Destruction of the weak is nature's plan.
Oh Lord!
The must understand this day of the strong man is the devil's heyday. So they will right the wrong when the master plays.
PDP family, good night.
PDP!
Tobago, good night. You know, earlier today I swung through Roxborough And when I saw all the people at Roxbury, I said, oh Lord, like we have carnival going on in Roxbury. The east always hot. And when I swing by quickly tonight, I see they were still at it, going through the streets door to door, because they wanted to ensure that everybody gets the message. Everyone must get the message that change is about to come. Positive change is about to come. It is on the horizon. And I mean, from this platform, we preach a lot of Bible. And whenever you see a dream about to be realized, something big, something change-making, something transformational is about to happen, the devil is just find a lot of work for some red and idle hands to do. But when God has a plan, no man can unplan it. And so I thank you tonight, Tobago, for staying with us. We just have under 2 weeks to go. We're almost there. And I find the week and them taking long to run out. I find the things slowing down. And I don't want it to slow down. I want to get to December 6th. Quick. And tonight I want to start by recognizing Comrade Duke and deputy political leaders, Dr. B. Israel and Mrs. Alicia Roberts Patterson, and all of our candidates. I told you last night, and if you hear like the voice kind of going, I think I have to go and grind up some ginger and honey and treat the vocal cords, because I have to do a lot of talking, but that's okay. I told you last night that tonight I want to treat with the issue of contracted employment within the Tobago House of Assembly, and at a larger level, the issue of the public service within Tobago and the THA. I came back to Tobago in 2009. When I came back to Tobago, I had a contractual requirement to work for the THA or to work for Tobago for 1 year. The THA gave me $30,000, which at the time sounded like plenty money. But by the time you start to pay school fees, you realize it isn't really that much money. And I decided after undergrad, I will return home and I will give back my contractual obligation to the island. The contract said that I ought to allow myself to be employed by the THA and or find employment within Tobago. And if that doesn't happen within 1 year, then I'm free to leave and find employment elsewhere. I returned home, and the first thing I did, I got called by the then Secretary of Education, and I was asked to fill in as an assistant communications officer, because the communications officer was leaving. 3 months later, I got a call to start teaching at Speyside High School. And so I got excited. I said, you know what? That's a good thing. I can give back to my community. And more than that, here I was, the son of a woman who worked while they were building the school, helping to clean the office for the contractors and doing the bookwork for the contractors. And yet her son was being given the opportunity to return to that same school where she did perhaps what some would classify as unskilled labor, the opportunity to teach. And so I took what was then a pay cut, because for the former position, I got a nice traveling, $1,500 seemed like a lot of money for traveling. And I said I can forego that to walk to school and to educate people's children and have a much larger impact. I showed up at school on the 28th of August, because teachers show up 2 days before the vacation ends, the Thursday and the Friday. I showed up to school excited. I'm a teacher. After those 2 days, I showed up on Monday morning, bright and early. And bright and early wasn't always one of my favorite things, but I showed up bright and early that Monday morning. And the clerk tree pulled me aside and she said, "What kind of teacher are you?" I said, "What do you mean by what kind of teacher am I? I'm a teacher?" Me and it a different kind of teacher. She said, "Yes, what kind of teacher are you? Are you a teacher 2, teacher 3? Are you on contract?" I said, "Well,
all they did was give me this piece of paper and tell me to show up with this piece of paper. When I presented the paper to her, the paper said that Farley Chavez Augustine was being employed effective the 28th of August 2009 as an educator with the Tobago House of Assembly Division of Education. And then she said, oh, you're a contracted teacher. I said, what do you mean? She said, look at Mark there. I said, where Mark there? Educator. Once you see educator Mark there, you're a contracted teacher. And that began my woes as a contracted employee of the THA. Imagine being a contracted employee and not knowing that you were actually a contracted employee. Imagine being a contracted employee and never seeing the terms and conditions of the contract for which you were hired. Imagine being a contracted employee and never being given the opportunity to negotiate said contract. But I was a contracted employee. And I said, okay, and I started to teach. And when I thought that contracted employment within the public service meant that you were perhaps doing some temporary job, or you were doing some job for which there was a deficiency and you needed to fill it, and that meant that you'll be remunerated accordingly, I soon found out that as a contracted educator, I taught the same hours as those that were regularized. In many cases, I taught more hours than those that were regularized. And as a contracted educator, I was never paid equal to those who were regularized. And because we do not have a buoyant private sector, we're happy for the work. We want to work, we want to earn, but we also want to be treated in a dignified manner. And that's why it is important tonight for me to stand here and speak to those of you who are contracted by the THA, because I have lived what you are living now. I understand far too well what you are experiencing now. I understand that you cannot live to your fullest potential because of how the THA structures its contracts with you. And it's not just educators. There are primary school teachers in the system right now, still awaiting their increments, still awaiting their upgrade. I met earlier this year with a young lady who is a primary school teacher. Her home was burnt down to the ground. She lost every single thing just on the onset of the second lockdown. And in the second lockdown, courts closed, everybody closed, so she couldn't even go to try to purchase new furniture, even if she had the money. And you know what was her number one complaint? She said, Farley, I teach in long time, and I'm still in the system as an assistant teacher. Although I have the college degree, I did the training. They know I did it. I did the requisite interviews and everything. And for nothing, they will upgrade me. And she has children to see about. She had to beg for devices for children to go to school. I'm talking about a teacher. And these are the people we expect to show up in the classroom and to perform at their best. To perform at their best, knowing very well that courts could come any day and repossess the goods. Because the salary you are rightfully due, you can't get. Because you're still languishing because somebody somewhere has refused to do their job. I've asked repeatedly, why is it we cannot have a systematic approach to treating with these matters? Here we have schools, new schools like Speyside High School, Goodwood High, and so on. These schools were created as what we call the SEMP schools, and their establishment were considerably small. But these schools have since grown. These SEMP schools, these schools that people once thought were for the children that weren't so bright, now have sixth form, doing exceptionally well. You must put your hands together for schools like Speyside High School and Goodwood High School and Mason Hall High. Doing exceptionally well. And what is required is that the Executive Council take the time out to do this proper staff audit and to make the request for an increase in the establishment at these schools. That is what is required. But they're not doing their work. They're lazy. The only thing they're good for is to sit down and pass money for their friends, and money that will allow them to get kicked back. But when it comes to you, the people, you, the worker, they're not time for you. They're not time to do what they're supposed to do for you. So you can't get in the establishment. And I had to ask a former Secretary of Education, I say, if all of we who in Speyside High, who are on contract, should get up and walk out of the school and resign today, do you have enough teachers? No. When I look around in my own department, we had only 2 teachers in my department who were part of the establishment. And all the rest of us were on contract, including those like myself who were teaching at the 6th form level. And that is unfair. But it's not just teachers in primary and secondary school who are struggling. We have nurses up at the hospital who are struggling. Nurses who killing out themselves day and night, catching COVID, trying to help you and me and help to fix a poorly managed pandemic on the island. And you had them on all kind of crazy contract. In April, a young lady reached out to Mr. Farley, are tired. When we come in, they give me a 6-month contract. They tell me that is probation. The 6 months turned to 1 year. And this 6-month contract that turned to 1 year meant that we didn't have any benefits at all. If I feel sick a day, if my husband stressed me out a day, I can't take the day. Because if I take the day, I ain't getting paid for the day. And so we had nurses working who are afraid to take a day because they're afraid to lose a day's pay. You could never get the best out of those category of workers. And when I spoke to her earlier today, she said, Farley, I called just in October to ask what's going on. They said they're going to give me a 1-year contract. Well, oh God, you give them 2 6-month contracts, just a simple 1-year contract. Which bank going and take you with a 1-year contract seriously? Which bank going and give you the loan that you need to get what you need with a 1-year contract seriously? And the question I ask, we're going to be running out of sickness anytime soon? And the way these people have been stressing me out for 21 years, diabetes and hypertension sure kill me backside. And so we're not running out of sickness anytime soon. And therefore, there's a need to treat our nurses better than that. And I raised the issue. I raised the issue earlier this year. And the Secretary of Health quite nonchalantly said, but, well, they're temporary. Temporary, but they're doing permanent work. At what point does temporary becomes permanent? We have to treat our people better than that. This is not slavery. If we want the best out of our people, we have to treat them better than that. And you may not recognize it, but a significant number of our nurses and healthcare practitioners are leaving. They're picking up and they're going to United Kingdom. They're leaving their own republic and going back to the Queen's country to talk the Queen's language and work for the Queen's pounds, because they believe they cannot be treated fairly and well enough in their own homeland. And that is why our outward migration rate is so high. People feel like they cannot live here and live decent lives here because of how we treat them. And I am not here with any fairy tale thinking that we have a bag of money, we could just fling money here and everywhere. If we had money trees, then fine. But we have to treat those that we employ properly and give them proper conditions for which they should work. And once we do that, we can hold our workers accountable. We can ensure that they are productive. Because I am not advocating for treating you better so you could come work and lazy about the place and then do the people work. I'm advocating for your better treatment so that we can get better productivity out of you. That is how it works. And so tonight, I want to share some important thoughts with you. I want to tell you that the public service of any government is the machinery that is responsible for carrying out public policy. In other words, the Exec Council makes the policy. At number 1 Jerningham Street, we make the policy. Some policies are made by the central government in Trinidad that we naturally adopt. And it is our public servants, inclusive of those we hire on contract, who must now carry out these policies, who must now make sense out of sometimes what is nonsense. And I pity the public servants, Because the 21 years you had to really make some serious sense out of some serious nonsense. And I've had to bite up your tongue for a whole 21 years because you don't want nobody to victimize you. I want to tell you, freedom coming just now. Under 2 weeks. Under 2 weeks. Where you get to perform your duties and perform your duties well. And where Watson Duke wouldn't have to come and march in a building because everything falling down in the building and they have you choke up in a small space. You can't even work in COVID pandemic conditions in your own office that we're paying rent for and paying big money rent for. I'm telling you, under 20 days for your deliverance. You have to stay the course with us. But how successful our public service is depends on how efficient and effective it is. How successful it is dependent on the quality of governance that you will receive. How successful it is depends on the loyalty and the competence of the workforce. How successful it is depends on the quality and type of legal framework that conditions it to operate. And when I think of our public service, and I'm including those on contract now, and I look around, and I see some of the people there who are just not competent, making bigger money than those who are competent, and making bigger money than some of the bona fide public servants. I ask myself, how did we arrive at that place? We live on an island where we pay more money for a post holder than we're paying for an assemblyman. All I got to figure out who is the post holder just now. That is the kind of island we live on, where there isn't any parity in how we treat our workers. The standards are uneven, the ground no level. And yes, we grew up on an island where we were taught that Jacques said the wall no level. But I expect any responsible government to try to level the playing field and to create level criteria so that everybody can benefit from it. That's what we require. And so, we should not have situations where employees have to fight for something, fight for everything, make noise for toilet paper, make noise for your salary, make noise for your contract, make noise for your gratuity, make noise for them to honor simple agreements between the union and the THA. That is not a healthy workforce. You shouldn't have to show up to work grumpy. And now I understand why sometimes we go to our healthcare practitioners and we don't get the best customer service. A lot of our workers there are unhappy. They're unhappy with the conditions. And so there are some things that we need to do to fix the system. And the first commitment I am going to give you tonight, Tobago, is that these foolish, perpetual 3-month and 6-month contracts will come to an end.
PDP!
Month-to-month contracts are good, but those are for only temporary situations. If you're working month-to-month and a whole year don't pass, why are you still month-to-month? If you're working 3 years in a row, why are you still having 3-month contracts? If you're working for 5, 6, 7 years, why give you a 2-year contract? You know, if they had given me a 7-year contract for the 7 years I taught, I would be better off financially than these contracts I never saw until they ended. And that's why contracted teachers were able to take the THA to court and win. And people keep winning the THA in court. You don't hear about it every day. But there is plenty of money we have to pay out to settle grievances. Because unions taking the THA to court, individuals taking the THA to court, everybody taking the THA to court and win. And that cannot be how we operate. We're losing money like that. If we do better business, we save ourselves the litigation. And we are in a society where people are more legally sound in their mind. They're not afraid of nobody. They're ready to run down by Martin George every morning to make some noise for the case. And that is not how you run a successful public service. You have to treat workers better than that. So these very short-term contracts must come to an end. We got a commitment from the Chief Secretary that contracts will not be less than 3 years. But that has not materialized in many instances. There are many, many Tobagonians with contracts whose contracts are less than 3 years. Less than 3 years. We have to look at recruitment of manpower competent in industrial relations within the THA. Who are our industrial relations experts within the THA? Who are the ones guiding our HR department? Who are the ones writing up these contracts? If I show you my contract, you will laugh. Phyllis Pascal did write it. I know it and written by the current senior state counsel because she's a brilliant lady. But Phyllis Pascal did write them other contracts. Probably it was by the rum shop and he sit down and scribble something and send it and they give us that as contract. You look at the contracts, poorly done up. They don't meet the expectations based on what the industrial court and our culture has demanded from us and the law has demanded of us. We have to have an establishment of a temporary bilateral committee for the determination, review, and settlement of outstanding gratuities where possible. Now, I was told that if we have to pay all the gratuities owed through education, then we have to shut down Tobago's capital development budget for a couple years. That's how much that is outstanding. But how is that so? Every single year when we make a budget and the National Parliament gives us a budget and a figure for recurrent expenditure, gratuities are factored into that. So where the money monies that were budgeted for gratuities, where that money there? Where you use that money to do? And from what I'm understanding, when we get our sum, we assign the smallest, the most minute amount to paying off gratuities. So they can never pay all in time. Owing year upon year upon year upon year. That is bad business. We are incurring a debt that soon we will not be able to handle. If all the people on the island that are owed gratuities get up and go to court now, can the THA manage that? If the unions decide to pull out all the workers who are owed gratuities now, the THA will fall flat. It is unfair. It is unfair and unreasonable. And I wanted to ask those in the exec council, ask how much of them don't get the gratuities from the period they serve as secretaries. Ask them. Ask them how much of them don't get the gratuities from the division already. So them walking out with a check on the last day at the dissolution of the house. You're right.
PDP!
Shamfa don't get she gratuity money already. And she's entitled to it. It's her right to have it. It is also your right to have yours.
PDP!
And so we have to set up a committee that includes union reps from the THA, legal minds, and begin to work through how we process the payments of gratuities and give it some priority. Because if you are a contracted employee, the policy is that you will work for a period, you have no big lump sum pension to get, and your gratuities must be what you use to help sustain you and to invest in other things. Some of you want to invest in further education. Some want to invest in homes and vehicles. Some want to buy a little piece of land here or there. Some of you all want to take that money and probably get married. They don't know. But they have your money hold up somewhere. Like the Prime Minister, I don't like my money to sleep out. And I don't want Tobagonians' money to sleep out either. If your money sleep out, you might catch cold. You might catch COVID. Don't let your money sleep out. Demand what is yours in this election. And the first step in demanding it is going and voting them out on December the 6th.
PDP!
We have to revisit the all minimum terms and conditions of employment for workers and on contract in the Tobago House of Assembly. This new one is devoid of a code of conduct, and its language devoid of proper IR jargon in many, many areas. So that was poorly done, very dubious. We had to develop code of conduct for contract employees along with minimum terms that actually make sense. We have to have the establishment of an effective performance management system with emphasis on performance appraisal, which is virtually absent from within the THA now. Sometimes you have to beg a supervisor to complete your performance appraisal on time and all kind of madness. That should not happen in the system. Those things should be mandatory. Those, in fact, they are mandatory, and somebody needs to insist that it be done and done on time and done properly. All of those things are holding up people's payments and remuneration. The knowledge base of the assembly is being lost on a monthly basis through attrition and the lack of effective succession planning. And I want to pause here for a minute. Just bringing back everybody who retire on contract is not a succession plan. Succession planning means that we are very purposeful in ensuring that those who are on their way out are remitting information to those that they have to leave behind. You know, wait until they leave to then bring them back on perpetual contracts, hoping some knowledge will pass on. The knowledge sharing has to happen continuously. It has to happen through the system. And that's also why Tobago is in dire need of some sort of public service training academy of sorts. Call it whatever name you want. But there is a need for us to have some sort of academy set up to train our public servants, to train those that are coming in, so that the knowledge can be passed on from generation to generation. I wish I could make about a dozen more Gloria Carringtons and put them all through the divisions. If I do that, then the divisions they might become straight like a pin, and things will work more efficiently and effectively. I also want to tell you that it is the implied duty of an employer to provide safe and quality employees in sufficient amounts. The conduct of an assembly manpower audit is therefore necessary for a quality workforce. It's in the precinct, minimizes incompetencies and inefficiencies that invariably lead to conflict between management and labor. I spoke about it last night. Manpower audit. When last we do a proper manpower audit? When last we sit down and we actually pay attention to the actual audits that we have done to see where the needs lie. We also have a situation within the public service where we have qualified people stuck at entry positions, and there are vacant positions higher up the ladder, and for nothing, nobody promoting them, nobody interviewing them for the positions, and we hiring people on contract to come and supersede those within the establishment. Plenty of you all here who are in the public service know what I'm talking about. Plenty of you all know what it is to be duly qualified and you're stuck at an entry level within the system. You can't move up and you're watching the seat there empty. You're watching the position empty. You're more qualified than almost everybody in the division, and nobody wants to give you a promotion. And part of the reason for that is because there seem to be in Tobago a fear of young people. And it is projected from the platform too. When I see the project from the platform that somehow this group of young people, we just rabble-rousers, we ain't intelligent enough, we ain't skilled enough, we ain't have the experience enough. Experience in what? Thieving? That's the only experience they have over us.
PDP!
And we have to change that culture. We have to start to embrace the power of our young people and our youth. We have to start to ensure we have adequate channels for our young people to move up and through the public service. Because if we don't, we will lose them. Anyhow and any time Tobago gets a competitive private sector, watch and see, the whole of THA will be empty. Because young people will leave them with their work and go elsewhere. And that's not what we want. We want to attract the very best minds into our public service, whether they're on contract or whether they are part of the establishment. We want the very best minds. And this is not an indictment on those who are seasoned with age. This is not an indictment. This is not some ageism I'm preaching. No. All I'm saying is that we have to begin to trust our young people to do important work within the public service. Train them and trust them. PDP. And PDP will do that. PDP will ensure that. One of the reasons why we have to reform how we do business in the THA is because I want to know that an employee of the THA must be able to live a decent life. What's the use working and you're still struggling? Why must you be employed under the THA and you can't connect the dots, you can't make ends meet? It's not fair. And the way to fix that is to fix how we do business. Is to change those ridiculous 3-month contracts and month-to-month contracts and ensure we give you longer-term contracts, much longer terms that the bank will actually accept, and the bank will favor you for long-term loans. We have to ensure that we are on time with our gratuities. Your contract done today, you must be walking out with a check today itself. And up to Sunday, I'm walking in Charlottesville, and people pulling me in a corner to whisper, I retired 2 years now, and I can't get me money. 8 years. People retire 8 years, can't get their money. The 2 years before retirement, they do all the paperwork, handing paperwork, do all kind of thing, and you can't get your money. That is unfair. Let me tell you, them politicians getting the money. Right. When they leave, they're getting the money. And plenty of them who fighting up is because they want 2 terms to ensure the pension be sure. And based on the pension documents, once they reach, 50, or get sick before the pension sure, you ensure your money is sure too. And the way to do that is by voting them out of office. Because for 21 years, they did not care about that. Too many complaints. You work 30 years, 40 years in a division. Why you can't get money to go home? Why you have to beg somebody to get money? And even when you get your first payment and you're waiting on the second payment, we're supposed to come from right hand to Tobago. You're there and you're waiting and you're begging and you're calling and you're progging and you're harassing some poor clerk trying to get your money. Is your money your work for that? You should not harass nobody for your money. That should not be what you resort to do when you retire. When you retire, you should be able to sit down and play with your grandchildren and cook sweet food and go back to making tart and pone and churning ice cream. You don't have time to be begging for your money. It's yours. You worked for it. And that's why when I hear them saying, Farley, them go fire people, I tell you, don't take stupid talk from them. We're not about firing people. We're about fixing things. And the public service needs some fixing in Tobago. And we are empowered to do so. In fact, let me read for you in case you don't realize it. That after Act 40 of 1996, we had amendments that resulted in Act number 7, 8, and 9 of 1989, which in essence describes and defines the public service as being in the service of the government of Trinidad and Tobago and in the service of the Tobago House of Assembly. So in other words, this very THA we're fighting for has the power to manage its public service the way it deems necessary. And we have to do better. We have to do better. And let me tell you, it's not the same thing down in Trinidad, you know. Because while I was a teacher on contract in Tobago, in Trinidad was a different kettle of fish. Everybody that getting hired properly, being part of the establishment, they're increasing the establishment down there. So what's wrong with we? Why we can't get it right across here? What's wrong with we? And then there's this thing where I tell some people, well, they have a temporary acting appointment. I don't even know what that means. So you do interviews and everything, I never temp act appointment. They give you the position to hold without the salary. And you there temporarily acting for years and you ain't getting money. And then you have to start to question whether they will actually give you a back pay for those years that you should have get the appointment and you ain't get the appointment. And these things have implications. We have plenty seasoned public servants in this audience tonight. It has implications. Implications of when you want to get promotion. When you want to move up to become a permanent set down in Trinidad, you can't, because your Trinidadian counterparts are better, well established than you are. Everything working out for them. They're fixing their books properly down there. What's wrong with us? And why can't the THA sit down, bring a team of experts and experienced people from the public service and in industrial relations together and work out how to fix the system, how to streamline the thing better, to move people through the division, start division by division and work it out. Too many divisions have these deficiencies. And I'm saying to you tonight that if you are a contracted employee in the THA, you don't need to worry for much longer. You only have 2 weeks, less than 2 weeks to worry. And don't worry when you can pray. So use the less than 2 weeks you have and pray. Pray, because when PDP wins the election, we come in to fix the issues related to contracted employment on the island. We come in to ensure that your contracts make sense. We come in to cut out these ridiculous short-term contracts. We come in to ensure that performance appraisals are done in a more systematic manner. We come in to ensure that we can find some dedicated people who will sit down and work through getting everybody their gratuities and paying off them old debts. We're coming to ensure that those of you working as nurses and in the medical field, that you are given some priority, because no more than ever we understand the amount of risks that you take. And if you're taking those risks on behalf of the people of Tobago, the people of Tobago have to treat you well. You must be comfortable at your job. We are going to also ensure that we write to the cabinet as is required by law and improve on the number of the establishments where needs be. So the schools with those contracted educators who have to make noise ever so often for an increase, and make noise for gratuity, and make noise for all sort of thing and go to court, we must bring those things to an end. We must fix those things. And we have the capability of fixing those things. But let me tell you lastly why we can't fix now. Because if we are to fix them, we have to find the money by cutting out corruption. If we are to fix them, we have to find the money by cutting out those big contracts we like to give to a few on the island. If we are to fix them, we have to fix them by ensuring that we streamline our budget and prioritize our workers and the people of Tobago. And they don't want to do that. They do not want to do that. But PDP has the political will to do that. And we will do that. We will ensure that we do that. Because you can't be working for the THA and having things so hard. I cannot feel comfortable lying down in lowlands that you paying for while you struggling in your own beds. That cannot be how we do business. And certainly that's not how this Chief Secretary will do business. I am giving you that commitment tonight. And so if you are looking at the live, notwithstanding the difficulties in my voice tonight, if you are listening to the live tonight and you are a contracted employee, I want you to rest easy because PDP is coming. I want you to sit easy. We're coming to fix that too. We're coming to fix that. Because all of these great plans we have for this island requires an efficient and an effective public service. It requires workers who will be very productive. You feel we could get a fancy city as Scarborough without that? You feel we could transform the way we do business and digitize government if we don't have that? Do you think we could actually get things done in a faster time and the ease of doing business in Tobago will be greater than in Trinidad if we do not have an efficient and an effective public service? We need you. You are part of the governance model with us. So you're not voting for Farley and voting for Team PDP to go in there and do work. You're voting for all of us to fix the system and for all of us to dig in our heels and all of us to work harder. And that brings me to the last point. I am tired of hearing people bringing down the public service in Tobago and denigrating the public service. There is a reputation, true or false, that precedes you, and we have to fix that too. Too many people have it to say that our public service is lazy and we don't work hard and we just come to work and look to make tea in the morning and sit down and read the Bible before we do the people work and all kind of thing. And I want to tell you tonight that collectively we have to work on changing that perception of the public service. When the public comes to you, it is your duty to become the best possible face and voice of the entire THA. Because the public will not always meet the chief secretary, or meet the secretary, or meet the policy maker. But the public will always meet a public servant. And you being the face of the THA must represent this island well. And I want to urge you to be as productive as you can. If we on one end will be working and moving everything we could move to ensure you are comfortable, you are properly remunerated, you are properly hired, that you have benefits, and where possible you get things like back pay and all kind of thing you're making noise for. If we ensure that happens, I want you to promise me that you will ensure that you will put your best foot forward and you will work hard on behalf of the people of Tobago.
PDP!
Without any favor, without any discrimination to anyone, I want you to work hard. I want when a visitor visits our offices that they feel like they are somewhere on Capitol Hill in the United States. And let me end with this comparison. I was invited to the United States in a program that they call IV, or International Visitors Program. And that's a program that operates out of the office of the Secretary of State. At the time, the invitation came from Secretary Hillary Clinton. And I went to that program, and you have to be invited to the program. It's not a program you apply for. They see you in your country, and they invite you based on how they see you operating in your own country. So they must have seen something good in Farley, and they invited me there. And I could remember this is January, it is still winter, and I'm invited to Capitol Hill to have a meeting with Marco Rubio and his team and his staff. Because at the time he was a young senator, just won, and he was one of those that used the social media a lot to propel himself into office. And they wanted to teach us how they did it. And so I was going. In the morning, I had a meeting with Marco Rubio and his staff. In the afternoon, I had to witness a hearing, an international relations hearing. And at the time, they were discussing issues with the war in Iraq and all of those things. And being a good Caribbean man, I ensured I got up early, ironed out my clothes, stone pussy dress from head to toe, hat on my head, scarf on my neck, long trench coat over my jacket, suit, tie, everything, shoe glistening, shining. And I'm stepping on air because I feel important. And I get through Capitol Hill and get through all the security features and all of those things. Take your thumbprint, all kind of story, you get in. And when I get into Marco Rubio's office, there is a young lady who is his assistant, is there in winter, wearing a skinny jeans, flats on her foot, and a spaghetti strap top. And I am saying in my mind myself, but like I come to the wrong place. But I took off my coat and I sat down with an air of importance, and then I look around and realize all the other workers, save and except for the senator himself, were dressed in a similar fashion. And one of the questions I asked them that day is, what accounts for your dress code? And they were confused by my question. They didn't understand what I was asking about dress code. And perhaps in their mind they were wondering, where is this boy from? What dress code he talking about? Because for them, the measurement they were using for their public service was performance, was how well they can work, was what can they produce, having the deliverables met. And then I wondered for the first time in my life as a young man that perhaps we have an imbalance on where we place our focus as an island. And perhaps that is part of a post-colonial society thinking. And I'm not saying that we should throw away all our customs and throw away decency and that you should show up to work wearing a short pants or a batty rider. I'm not advocating for that at all. But I'm saying that perhaps there is a need for us to switch the balance of our focus from being so much on the superficial and placing it where it belongs rightfully on issues of productivity and how we can produce more. Because we have to compete against societies like that. Whether you like it or not, we are a direct competitor with United States and with United Kingdom and with metropoles significantly larger than us, with budgets that we could never imagine how to spend. But they are our competitors in this world. And the question is, how do we move Tobago from just being a tiny island in a post-colonial society to an island that can punch above its weight, to an island that can do great things, to an island where people can achieve significant things, to an island where we can actually deliver on the things we dream about, to an island where future generations can walk around and see a clear pattern of dreaming from generation to generation, and how they execute things well, and how they do things well with some kind of exactitude. How do we get to that place? And we can only get to that place when we learn collectively to be more productive, when we begin to treat our workers better, when we begin to shake off some of those colonial notions and start thinking about how we become competitive. And I want all of you employed in THA today, tonight, you're looking, I want you to understand that you are in competition with your neighbors right in Trinidad. And I'm tired to see them out the way. I'm tired to see their children beat our children in every exam. I want to see a Tobago child come first in the exam in the entire country too. If that is the yardstick by which we are measuring academic performance, let we come first too. I want a situation where whenever you apply for your gratuity upon retirement, you don't have to call control of accounts quite in Trinidad and beg somebody to call somebody who they know, or beg Barry when he's going down to look and see if you check down there, because it's months and years you're waiting on it. That should not be how we do business. The Trinidadians must look up and say, something happening in Tobago. Everything in Tobago efficient, on time, well done, proper, decent and in order. And we were once there. Because if you study the history of this country, the people who were first out the blocks in developing the public service in this country were Tobagonians. Were Tobagonians who had to beef up this country. All the bright that has played a bright down there, they care brighter than a Tobagonian who put their head to the work and do the work well. That's why we could have gotten the first Governor General of the Central Bank. I mean, I have other thoughts about his legacy. But the reason why we got him as the first local and indigenous Governor General of the Central Bank was because we were doing well. And we have the potential to do even better. We have to keep competing. It's a competitive world out here. And that's why every night I end by telling you that I believe that Tobago can become the greatest little island on the planet. And I will keep saying it until you believe it, because when you believe it, you will start working towards achieving it. Repetition deepens the impression. So I will repeat it until it sticks in your mind. And you will stop thinking that great is some party and great is some man, and great is some woman, and start thinking about your own community, your own village institutions, your own Tobago House of Assembly, your own island, and start thinking about ways to make your island the greatest little island on the planet. That's what you have to do. We have to work at it. And so tonight was a very sober and somber message. No excitement, no fanfare, no bacchanal, no nothing. Because I want you to get it, that we have to fix these labor issues. And these are not all, by no stretch of the imagination. And I am no union leader, and I did not study industrial relations, but we have expert knowledge available to us on this island. We have people who have studied that and have trained people in that and have taught people in that right here on the island. And we have to find ways to use them. Use them so we can build out a more efficient service for our people. And I want that as we get to 2022, you must be able to walk into a THA office. And when you walk into a THA office, you must be able to be greeted with a smile. You must find people there that know how to direct you. You must get access to the documents you go for in a timely manner. You must be able, when needs be, to send things via online and it be accepted into the system. You must be able to search for documents and get them when you need them. You must be able to have productive conversations with public servants, whether they're on contract or they're part of the establishment. And that can only happen when we start to treat our workers better. And we are going to start with those of you who are contracted employees of the THA. We are going to treat you better. We want to treat you better. Stop take bad licks. Stop take bad treatment. Come out of the Stockholm Syndrome. Free your mind from that. You can do better than that. Don't settle for less than what they're giving to their own friends. Because I kid you not, their friends ain't no contract like your contract. The kind of contract that does get their friends, and I will start to tell you about that later this week. The kind of contract that does get their friends, you don't get. And if you could only get from them a little contract for a little 8,000 there and a little 9,500 there, you deserve to be treated with dignity too. You may not be getting $1 million contract from them like their friends, but you deserve to be treated with dignity too. And I assure you that those with the multi-million-dollar contracts with the THA, they're out to beg for their money, eh? Believe you me, Exec Council note that's passed today, and in quick time they just get their money. Is you that have to fight up and beg and make noise and bother some poor clerk or clerk to get your stuff done. Is you that have to fight up and beg. So see about yourself in this election. See about Tobago in this election. Stop suffer yourself in this election. And on December the 6th, I want you to go out early to the polls. Go out early because by 2 p.m., PDP must done win the election already.
PDP!
Go out early and go out in your numbers. Don't wait till last minute. Don't waste the day. Don't wait for nobody to come and try to bamboozle you, to give you a little small change to change your mind. Tell them you don't want small change to change your mind. In fact, take the small change and go in the poll and get them big dollar wine.
PDP!
You have to be serious in this election. This is an election for you to win it for Tobago. This is an election for you to win it for yourself. When last you vote for yourself? All the time you're voting for Granny and what Granny tell you to vote. All the time you're voting because you like a man here, you like a girl there. All the time you're voting because they have a bigger motorcade. All the time you're voting because they might have a nicer song. All the time you're voting because at the last minute somebody come and pave your road. All the time you're voting because you get a little hamper or food card some days before the election. And I'm saying in this election we are not voting based on any of those trinkets that they give us, because we cannot be bought or sold. Not this time around. This time around, we're about fixing our own business ourselves. And it starts with fixing who we put in the executive council. We can't fix Tobago unless we fix the executive council. And if you're dissatisfied after 21 years, let me fix this executive council by getting rid of the old and putting in a new, led by yours truly, Farley Chavez Augustine.
PDP.
And I covenant with you that you will get quality service for the taxpayers' dollars with which you will pay us. You will get quality. And when we do that, Tobago indeed will become the greatest little island on the planet. I thank you, Tobago. Good night. Keep us in our prayers as we keep working hard. And of course, provide us with all the bush medicine you could find so we can keep the throats going, because we have just under 2 weeks to do a lot more talking, a lot more engaging. Keep safe, Tobago. Keep safe even as the COVID numbers rises. Keep safe, importantly, because you can't vote if you're in ICU, and ICU must be done full already. So you might be left outside, and you definitely can't vote if you're down in Boku Public Cemetery. So please keep yourself safe so that we can safely get to December 6th, where we can vote them out. And as of midnight on the 7th of December, it will be declared that Tobago won this election, the PDP won the election, and we're back to transforming Tobago. Thank you and have a good evening.
PDP.
A week but I'm holding on in order to stay around in a life therapy imbalance. For it is nature's way until judgment day. Weakness ain't got a chance. Playing strong cause I realize the price little one must pay to keep the big one in paradise. It's torment and misery all day. Destruction.